Cameras on. Stay on mute. Cameras on. I need everybody to stay on mute. Cameras on. I need everyone to stay on mute. Cameras on. I need everybody to stay on mute. This is the calendar call, everybody. Cameras on and stay on mute. Cameras on. Stay on mute. Cameras on. Stay on mute. Imagine you're in my courtroom and there is a deputy in there letting you into my courtroom. That's what this is. So cameras on and stay on mute. Cameras on, stay on mute, except for my staff, Ms. Free doesn't have to turn off. Allie, don't know who you are, turn your camera on. Everybody turn your camera on. If your camera is not on and your screen name needs to be your name, nobody's mom named them Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G. If your mother named you Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G, I will change your name for free. Can't tell your mother, but I'll change your name for free. Wiggy Hung, whoever, need to see your faces. Galaxy Z, you're blurry. If you're driving, you're out of here. No driving. I am not going to be responsible for you crashing into something. Need to see more than can't see your ceiling, sir. Face. Need to see everything on you that you see on me. Here up. Got to see you, everybody. Cameras on and stay on mute. Galaxy Z Fold, I don't know what you're doing. You're blurry, you're foggy. If you're driving, can't tell if she's driving, Miss Free. What do you think, Miss Free? You think she's driving? Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G says connecting to audio, but if she's driving, boom, she's out of here. Yeah, looks like she's driving, doesn't it? Do you, Miss Sandifer? Appears to be driving to me. See you later, Galaxy. That's why we need your name, everybody, because if I don't see your name, I can't mark that you're here. If you start driving, kicking you out. All right. Keep your cameras on while I call your name. Everybody, look at your screen. If you're on your phone, there's a little dot right there. If you hit those little dots, it's a microphone and it will unmute yourself once you come off of which you need to answer when I call this calendar. This is the Fulton County Superior Court Domestic Violence Calendar. Look here, somebody's 3 minutes late. I will let Travis in. That don't happen when we're here and in person, does it, Miss Brewer? 9 o'clock, 9:30 is 9:30. On time is late, people. All right. Keep your cameras on. This ain't DeKalb County. We start on time. We don't start late. At least you know you've been to DeKalb County, haven't you? That's it. It ain't DeKalb County. We start on time here. And we keep our cameras on. Now, I got a little bit of an accent, everybody. Yes, I do. I've got an accent. And I may mispronounce your name, but you're going to be cool about it. Nobody's going to lose their mind because I got kicked out of Spanish. The teacher told me week 2, your accent destroys the language. Never speak Spanish again. I have to order by the numbers on the Mexican restaurant menus, okay? So I don't speak Spanish, and I can mess up some names. When I open my mouth, it sounds like cornbread and buttermilk, but that's okay. I love me some cornbread and buttermilk. So we're going to be okay if I mispronounce your name. We're all going to be cool, right? We ain't going to lose our mind. Now, I'm a judge here in Fulton County. I don't work for the sheriff's department. I don't do service. So if I say somebody hasn't been served, guess what? They haven't been served. And guess whose problem that is? That's a Sheriff Labatt problem. Okay? That's who you talk to. Don't scream at me. I don't do that. Miss Free doesn't do that. Maureen McLeod, that's not your camera on. I can tell you that. That's a screenshot. Turn that camera on, Miss McLeod. There you go. All right? So I don't do service. So don't scream at me if you don't have service. Okay? Just be cool. We'll reset it. You only have so many days by law to get service done. If not, you have to reapply. Oh, I got to reapply. You sure do. Because I'm going to do what we like to call follow the law. Now, these people that are late, maybe we'll let them in here in just a minute. Okay? Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G is probably still driving. All right? So, everybody, when I call your name, hit that little button, take yourself off of mute, and then just listen to me, okay? Let me finish what I'm saying. I'm going to ask very specific questions because there's very specific stuff I need to know. So just listen to my question. If it's a yes or no answer that I'm asking for, give me a yes or no answer, okay? All right, let's try this.
Okay. Go.
Will you hand me my screen box?
Now go. Here's the rules, everybody. Miss Thaxton, you have a witness. That witness needs to leave the room. If I see you and I think that you're talking to your witness, they're not going to testify. That means when you're doing this, That means you're talking to your witness or somebody in the room. And that makes me very upset. All right. So witnesses out of there. And I am much smarter than I sound, people. Some people, whoever, YouTube land, they'll be going, no, she's not. No, she's not. But I really don't care about YouTube land. I care about the law. All right. So I may interrupt you and ask you a question. It's because you get on 285 and you start looping 285. I don't like 285. I don't get on 285. I stay on the connector. That means tell me the facts. Don't be so vague as to say, they threaten me and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know what blah, blah, blah means. What's the threat? Call me this day, say I'm going to cut your head off, and then call me 782 times on this month, did this month. I may ask you what you think's a dumb question. How do you know it was the other party is the one who called you? Here's how I know, Judge. I heard the voice. They called me from a blocked number. How do you know it was them then? They sent an email. How do you know that was them? I may ask you some of those questions. Answer them. So if I interrupt you, I'm just going to try to get some clarifying questions, okay? And please remember, everybody, this is June the 17th, 2022. If you start talking about something that happened in 2000, I'm going to stop you right there. I don't need to hear something about 2000, okay? Anyway, if it's family violence, or stalking, there has to be behavior that's happened, and there's a reasonable likelihood that it's going to happen in the future, okay? It's much like the gentleman that was on here earlier. It was going to be over. His neighbor was going to move to another state. His neighbor didn't move. So there's a reasonable likelihood that it's going to happen in the future. You've got to prove those things. Violence and or the act of stalking has happened in the past. And there's a reasonable likelihood it's going to happen in the future. All right. Those are the things that you have to do. So y'all are going to be respectful to one another. You're not going to interrupt one another. And you're not going to interrupt me because I got the power of the mute button. And I will mute you if you start getting out of control. Okay. Let's don't throw what I like to call gasoline on a fire. Okay. We just talk. Don't argue with them. Direct your conversation to me. All right. No personal attacks, people. Just the facts of what happens, what I want to hear. All right. Ms. Creighton, I'll let you go ahead and tell me what's going on. Ms. Thaxton, I'm going to let you respond. Then we'll see if we got some questions for either one of you. Or heaven help, if you got a question for one another, we'll see what happens after I ask a few questions. And if you got a question that's going to be relevant, then maybe we'll let you ask some questions. Go ahead and tell me what's going on, Ms. Crane.
Okay, basically, May 13th, we live in the same apartment complex. She lives above me. And I went downstairs with my dog, who was not on the leash. She got out before I could get her on the leash out of my apartment to go to the restroom. And Miss Thaxton and her friend or sister and her 3 children were in the parking lot. And I went down and she started yelling at me, saying various cuss words. And
you can say it. I've heard them before. Believe it or not.
A Karen, bitch. I don't think she said cunt, but it was that kind of temperature on it. And so did the other person, her relative or somebody else that's with her, that's always with her and lives in the same complex. And so I proceeded down just next to the stairwell with my dog, and she kept doing it. And so I walked up to her and I said, let's talk about this. Let's get this over with. This has been going on for a month. And every time I see you, you verbally attack me. Then she got in my face basically and just said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to make it stop? What are you going to do? And so did her friend. And I said, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here until we talk about this and we settle it. And then she hit me in the face and pushed me down. She's going to tell you that she didn't do it because her friend is going to say I didn't do it, but she did it in front of 3 children. Her daughter, who's a teenage person, turned around, shaked her butt in my face. And I said, you know what? I've had about enough of this. And I don't remember exactly if I said anything else, but I went back upstairs. I was upset. And I decided to go ahead and try to file for something so that I can live here and not be scared of this whenever I walk out the door.
How long has this type of behavior been going on?
About a year. And I think that it all started when I work out of my apartment like most people in COVID. And she was upstairs yelling down 2 stories to her children that are under 5 years old about getting out of the street or something like that. And it was going on. And I stuck my head out of the door and say, could you please be quiet and walk down to your children? And I think that's where it all started. So ever since then, if I'm walking around my complex, her friend who lives in the complex looks out the window and says, what do you want, bitch? And stuff like that. And then Miss Thaxton, you know, she just looks at me every time I come down the stairs and kind of does this business like, what are you going to do? And I'm just tired of it. And at this point, I've lived here for 4 years. She's probably lived here, I don't know, a year and a half. She's got, you know, a couple of children, maybe 3 children living upstairs. I don't know. And they're cute and they're sweet. You know, I mean, it's nothing against that, but I just don't want to have to deal with it. So that's why I filed something just to say, please leave me alone. I'll walk the other way. You walk the other way. You know, I can't move until June, and I shouldn't have to, January. I shouldn't have to, but you know, that's my other alternative.
All right. Ms. Thaxton?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Well, it's been going on. Y'all should receive an email from the office. That incident, her dog did come downstairs, and the dog walked away from the stairs and stuff. I had pulled up and I asked her, I said, can you put your dog on the leash? Because she always have her dog off the leash. And I've been taking pictures and sending it to the office. So I asked her, because the dog, I ain't gonna lie, the dog, she's sweet, but my kids don't know that. And you know, older dogs don't like children. So she always tell my kids, don't come close to her. If you don't want my children to come close to your dog, put your dog on the leash. That's the Georgia law. That's the law of putting your dog on a leash, period, wherever you go. So no, I did not put my hands on her. I did not say yes, I did cuss her out. I'm going to tell you that I did cuss her out, because you're not going to talk to me or my kids any kind of way. But she will come outside on her balcony door be open, and she'll hear us come out the door, and she'll be like, shut the fuck up. So I'm like, yo, and I always go to the office and complain on her. I don't take anything in my hands with this lady.
So why would you say that you pushed her and stuff? What?
I did not push her. I did not put my hands on her. Your Honor, I have 4 children. I have a 9-month-old, I have a 3-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, and I have an 11-year-old. I have way too much to lose to put my hands on somebody.
So how long has this disagreement stuff been going on?
Almost 2 years since I moved in here, because her dog always off the leash. This thing, like every time I have someone over here and she feel like I'm making a lot of noise, she stay right next to the stairwell. So when you coming up the stairs, you will hear everything and all the echoing and stuff like that, especially if you have your door open. So yeah, she do come outside and she'll just stand on her, she'll open her door and she'll just stand outside, just look at me. I'm the one that's getting harassed. Every time I asked the office, I said, look, she have her dog off the leash. This is the whole thing is about her dog being off the leash. And I barely say anything to her. The only time I say something to her is when she says something to me, or she says something to my children.
What does she say to your kids?
She'll tell them, "Oh, y'all need to hush, or y'all need to be don't say nothing to my kids. Come to me. I'm their mother."
Anything else, Ms. Crane?
She's reporting my dog, who's not on a leash, apparently, in order to get back at me for yelling at her in the first place. But anyway, my dog is now on a leash. I had an issue with the management about something else, and they know what the situation is. But anyway, what do I have to say? She did hit me. I have no reason to make that up. Her children, who she loves so much, were sticking their butt out in my face and cussing me along with her and this friend in the parking lot. My dog is a Labrador Retriever, a 7-year-old Labrador Retriever. I've never said stay away from my dog ever to her children. I've never said anything mean to her children. She has 6 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment how does that work? You know, that's fine. I mean, I don't understand if a temporary restraining order gets put in place, it helps her and it helps me. If she feels like that's the case, then I can't do it to her either. So, you know, I don't understand why that wouldn't be a good solution, because I've seen her since this has happened, and I've looked the other way. I've walked the other way. I don't have any, I really don't want to have any confrontation. I really don't. I don't remember what else she said. But you know, I will say, when somebody stands up and confronts me, I'm not one to back down. I'll give you that. And that's kind of a reflex. And so I'm working on that. I'm in therapy for that kind of stuff right now. But I guess I'm asking the court to put this in place so that I don't have to deal with her looking at me or threatening me, or I don't know, just feeling like I'm under attack whenever I'm scared to go out of my apartment. I'm scared, you know, I have to look around and make sure she's not there. If she's there, I just go right back in my apartment.
All right. So what, anything else from you, Miss Thaxton?
Yeah, when the incident happened, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna call DCF on you. I'm gonna call." When she called the police on me, and they got my statement and her statement, and she running upstairs. "Oh, you better get your bond money because you're going to jail." Like, she say stuff to me to get up under my skin to react. I'm not finna react. Like I say, I have too much to lose. And what she's saying, my daughter had shake her butt. I don't have an older daughter. My oldest daughter is 6.
Oh, I thought you said it was 11. I wrote down 11.
No, my son is 11. My son is 11. My daughter is 6. And my other daughter is 3. And my other daughter is 9 months. So none of that will happen to when I come out of my kids, or my kids will not be disrespectful to a grown person. And I'm firm on that.
Right. Okay. Well, it was some woman that was shaking her butt. I don't know.
See, smells like gas to me. Yep, that definitely smells like gasoline. All right, here's what I'm proposing. No, it's not what I'm proposing, Ms. Freeze. What I'm ordering. We'll put this in place for 6 months. It's like 10 feet though while at home. Y'all live on top of one another. But I don't want this woman, Miss Thaxton, to go to jail for violating it. Miss Thaxton, I'll tell you this. Okay, now if she files a contempt and she's got, now I can't stop her from calling the police. She feels unsafe. But what I'm asking her to do, you got 4 kids, is that one, y'all try to get along. Y'all realize since we've been on here, how many bombs you think have dropped over there, Russia's bombing Ukraine? How many you think? How many people do you think has already died since we've been on? Yep, probably that many. Probably more than we can count. It's sad. And I get it, neighbors, you live in an apartment. It's thin walls. You're close. So, Miss Thaxton, if she wants to call 911, she can, but I'm sure she, don't know if she's a mother, doesn't matter. I'm sure she doesn't want you taken away from your children. I'll ask that she'll file a contempt. You'll come back in front of me. But then if I find out and figure out that it's still going on, I can put you in jail up to 20 days, which I don't like to do. All right? But this is, you got to leave her alone, Miss Thaxton. Just don't talk to her. If she's doing that and avoiding it, you do it too. But if she were to have called the police now, she could have you arrested, and she hasn't. Y'all figure out a way to get along, please. You live in an apartment. It's thin walls. It's, I got neighbors I don't like either. But that just happens. Y'all got to try to get along. People are dying in Ukraine. People are homeless. There's people that can't eat. There is so much stuff going on. That this, y'all just got to figure out a happy medium. And even if that happy medium is turn around and walk away, please. So she has to stay 10 feet. I mean, I can't say 200 yards. Y'all live on top of each other, 10 feet away while at home. That means you walk out the door, just turn and go the other way. You got to turn and go the other way. My gosh, Miss Free, how come we can't put these neighbor cases on Judge Houston's calendar? She loves neighbor cases. They're her favorite cases, Miss Free. Can we start doing that? Why are you laughing? Because you know she hates neighbor cases too. I'm going to anoint Miss McLeod to be the neighbor case hearing TPO judge.
I don't think I can handle that, Your Honor.
All right. But that's what y'all going to do, Miss Thaxton. You got your hands full if you're a single mother and you're raising 4 kids, and I think you're doing outstanding. And Miss Crane, I hope that you find some peace, and I hope that both of y'all can figure out how to get along. Please go into the management, telling people, doing this, doing that. Come on, everybody. In the end of the day, you're upright and exchanging oxygen. Okay? And Miss Crane, I'm sorry for this. Don't put your hands on one another. So, Miss Crane, if y'all both put your emails in the chat, we're going to send you copies of the order. Okay? Miss Thaxton, best of luck to you. Miss Crane, best of luck to you. All right, Miss Brewer, Madam Court Reporter, you ready? Take off, Miss Brewer. Tell me about it.
Judge, this case is concerning Miss Glass, and that the parties have 2 minor children. 2 boys, age 11. That's Kelvin, who's 11, and Kadarius is 9. Our contention, and we expect the evidence to show that the only reason this was brought was so that because Miss Glass refuses to let Mr. Hambrick exercise his parenting time with the minor children. The evidence will also show that they did separate around 2004. They've been living separate and apart since 2004. During the course of the relationship, since that, Miss Glass would never allow Mr. Hambrick to visit the children. Well, he could come to her house to visit the children, but she would never let him take the children away from the home. Ultimately, he filed for divorce in DeKalb County. He filed for divorce last year in October. Miss Glass was served. She never filed a response to the complaint, and she was notified of the final hearing. She did not appear for the final hearing. Evidence is also going to show that these parties have joint legal and physical custody of the children. It's supposed to be 50-50, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. The decree was entered on March the 11th, 2022. My client provided Ms. Glass with a certified copy of the divorce decree on or about March the 30th, 2022. And he has only seen the children one time since March, when he gave her a copy of the divorce decree. She just does not want him anywhere near the children. But yet she didn't come forward to seek any kind of relief in the divorce case. My client has told Ms. Glass that if she did not let him start seeing the children, he was going to take out a interference with custody warrant, which he did. And she was notified to come to court in that case on May the 16th. She didn't appear. She was given a Zoom link. She wouldn't appear. And there is, in fact, an active warrant that's been issued against her now by the DeKalb County. So there have been problems, but they're not to the extent that things that Miss Glass is saying. My client believes that they're just another attempt to keep him from exercising visitation with the children. So we're going to be asking that the petition be dismissed.
All right. So go ahead, ma'am. Tell me what's going on.
Ma'am, I haven't received any paperwork. I wasn't received anything to come to court. I didn't even know I had a warrant to appear in court that he took out on me. And when he came by my house on the 15th of May, I was telling him that I went to the courthouse so I can get a lawyer. He abandoned me in 2014. And I've been having my children for 9 years on my own. And he recently filed for a divorce. And he has not been in their lives, just here and there. And I was telling him that I'm getting a lawyer. And I said, give me time to work this out. And I was about to come in my house, and he was trying to force himself into my house. And I started screaming for help. And my neighbor came upstairs to help me. And so once my neighbor was talking to him, I told my kid, I said, let's go. I'm finna go to my brother's house. And when I got to my car, his girlfriend jumped on the hood of my car. And then he told her to get in his car, and they was blocking me from leaving.
Your Honor, I do have a witness that just signed in. Her name, she needs to go in the waiting room. Her name is Felicia Wilson.
Let me stop you and say, tell me why you sought this TPO.
Because when I was getting to he was pushing on me. He was like, forcing we was going back and forth. And, in the past, he has put his hands on me, and I know what he's capable of doing. And then when I was screaming, my neighbor came upstairs, he was like, man, what's going on? What's going on? They was talking, and I told my kids, I said, come on, let's go to my brother's house. And when I got in my car, his girlfriend jumped on the hood of my car, and then he stood in front of my car, and he told her to get in his car, and they was just blocking me in. And so I told my kids, come on, let's go. And we ran to the BP gas station. And when I called for help.
So when did that happen?
That happened May 15th.
Has anything happened since then?
No, ma'am.
Can you tell me what violence happened in the past, if any?
He has put his hands on me. He has put a gun to my face. He is very violent. I don't put nothing past him, and I don't feel comfortable going to his house because I know what he's capable of doing.
So let me ask this. Have you, and I'm asking you, okay, Miss Brewer, I'm sure it's going to ask her, have you guys been swapping the children?
It's been so many years. It's like he walked away from me in 2014. We got married in 2012. He abandoned me in 2014. I have had my kids since then. He'll call every blue moon, he'll come by or whatever. I have let him got the kids in the past when they was younger, but it was always an issue. My son got burnt on his leg with his motorcycle. My son was 5 years old, or he'll get them to school late and he'll give me an excuse. It was always something wrong with my children when I got them back to me. Like they have the pink eye or they sick. It was always something. And I got a lawyer now to help me with my case. And that's what I was telling him, but he was trying to force himself into my house. And I told him, we was going back and forth. And I didn't want him to come inside because I was afraid he was going to put his hands on me.
So when this divorce was, are you saying you didn't know about the divorce, the hearing on the divorce?
I didn't get nothing in the mail. Ain't no sheriff went to my house. I didn't even know I got a warrant on me. I have not received anything from my mailbox, nothing.
You have questions for Ms. Brewer?
Oh, yes, Judge, I do. Now, you're claiming that there's a history of this. Why didn't you, so you're saying that you didn't know there was a divorce, the divorce had been filed?
He told me. Yes, ma'am, he told me. And since he'd been gone for so long, I'm thinking that he was going to go ahead and file for the divorce. I didn't know nothing about it. I'm going to be honest. I don't know nothing about a divorce proceeding. I don't know nothing about courts and how it goes. I did not know that I needed to show. I didn't get nothing in the mail or Zoom link or nothing. I don't have anything. Nothing. And if I did, I would have showed up for my children. I love my kids.
Miss Glass, you're saying that you don't feel comfortable going to his house?
Because he took my children out of school May 9th.
Well, what's the court report? She said this, one at a time.
I'm sorry.
That's sorry. Okay.
He checked my children out of school on May 9th. And he has never done that since my oldest been in pre-K. He had my son to text me and I left work. He had me sitting he knew I was on my way. And he had me sitting there for 4 hours in my car, waiting on him to come back. And my youngest baby said, Mommy, when he finally came, he said, Mommy, can I get in the car? And I said, baby, go ahead and get in the car. And when I met him at the school with my oldest son, my son hadn't brushed his teeth. His face had not been washed. And when we got inside the school building, he started crying. And he said, Mommy, I'm tired.
Your Honor, this is we're way off the topic. I object to this.
I know his violence. I know what he'll do. What he have done to me in the past. This man don't spit in my face. He whooped me with a belt. I know what he'll do.
Well, why didn't you file for divorce?
Ma'am, my mother passed away. My mother was sick with cancer. Okay, I was dealing with my mom. I didn't have time to even deal with him. I didn't have my whole world was shook upside down. I was too focused on her. I didn't have time to deal with him. And I had to get myself together emotionally to cope without my mom. I didn't even think I could raise my children without my mother, but I did it. I'm doing it. And he has not been in my...
Well, he was at your house the day you got served with the divorce papers, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And we talked about it. And he told me, I told him, I said, Kevin, I said, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and file. You should be happy. I said, I am happy. It's about time. It's about time because so many years has went by.
So now you're admitting that you were served with divorce papers.
But you're admitting that. I knew about the divorce, ma'am, but I never knew about me. I don't know nothing about divorce proceedings. I don't know how it goes. I don't know. I did not know. And I told him that, and he said, well, you have to file something. He said something about a petition. I did not know.
Well, he also told you that he was going to take out a warrant on you for interference with custody if you didn't let him see the children.
Ma'am, I have not received no warrant, ma'am.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, didn't he tell you that's what he was going to do?
No.
He never told you that?
No, ma'am.
You never got notice from the magistrate court?
I don't have anything. I'm at my apartment now. I don't have nothing. I check my mailbox every day. Every single day.
Why is it that he has not been able to exercise any visitation with the children since when was the last time you let him see them?
That's the thing. He stays away, ma'am. I'm not going to call him and be like, you going to come see your children? That's not my job. He know he got 2 kids. That's not my job. He had been gone for years.
The bottom line is you do not want the children spending any time with their father.
Ma'am, my children love their son. My children love their father. They love their father. Why would I keep my children away from their father?
Well, are you assuming this TPO is dismissed? Are you going to abide by the terms of the
No, I don't feel safe. No.
And that's why you told him the court order didn't make a difference to you. It didn't matter to you what a court order said. You were going to do what you wanted.
I didn't even we didn't talk about a court order. I don't feel this man be beating on my door hard. No, I do not feel safe, Your Honor. I do not feel safe. I do not. I had to leave my apartment to go live with my friend for a week because I was too afraid to come home. I was afraid. And
when was that?
I be parking my car elsewhere. Huh?
When was that?
It happened the next week when that went down. After the 15th, I left because I was afraid to come home. I just left.
You've never reported, other than what occurred on the 15th of May. There have been no other reports that you've ever made to the police, correct?
We talking about when we was together?
I'm talking about ever in the relationship that have you ever reported to the police other than this incident that you claim happened on the 15th of May?
It happened. It is not what I claim it happened. But in the past, when we were together, no, I didn't. I had a lot going on. As I mentioned, my mother was sick with cancer. I was dealing with her at the time. And when he just left, it's like it was a relief because I didn't have to focus on him. I was focusing on my mother, dealing with her chemotherapy.
But my question, I'm back to the question. You knew there was a divorce, so why didn't you try to get into court and tell the Superior Court judge in DeKalb County about how bad a father he was, how violent he was?
Ma'am, again, I say I don't know nothing about a divorce proceeding. What I was assuming that he was going to file for a divorce. Because he said, I thought maybe you're going to be happy. I said, I am happy. It's about time. That's what I said to him.
You remember a couple of questions ago, I said, wasn't it true that he was at your house, at your apartment with you the day you were served with the divorce papers? And you said yes.
And I told him to go ahead. I said, go ahead and file. Yes, ma'am.
That's what you got served with. So you knew that was a divorce.
I did not know that I supposed to been there, ma'am. I did not know. I'm telling you, I don't know nothing about how court. I don't deal with court stuff. This is actually my first time out of 42 years of living. I don't deal with court stuff. I don't be in jail. I don't do none of that. I don't know nothing about court proceedings. I just go to work and take care of my children. I am a mother.
The bottom line is you don't intend to adhere to any visitation or custody order. Anything that would give,
he
you're
has
not going to
never
adhere
had
to
my
it.
children for 2 weeks, since 9 years. For 2 weeks, I cannot give him my kids for 2 weeks. He can get them on the weekend, of course.
But you've never allowed him to get them on the weekends.
He never came by because he don't care. I'm telling you, Liz. I am telling you the truth. Out of 9 years, we got married in 2012. He left in 2014.
Let me ask you, I just have a few more questions. You kept the children out of school for the last 2 weeks?
That's the day when I met him, the 10th. And I talked to the principal and I told him about the whole history in the background. And I told him how violent he is. And I don't want to go over his house and deal with him because he had me waiting for 4 hours. He left on purpose and had me waiting at his house. I don't want to lose my life. I do not trust him. And the principal told me, Principal Foster, he said, since they taking the Georgia milestone test, he said it was okay to handle my business and do whatever I need to do on my end. I talked to the principal and he said it was okay. I talked to the school social worker. They knew everything. They knew everything.
Let me ask you this question. Let's assume Judge Manning entered a 12-month TPO, but she awarded Mr. Hambrick visitation. Is your plan to disregard that order too?
Disregard the parent? I do not want him. I want him to be in their lives because they're boys and they need their daddy. I can't show them how to be a man. I want them to spend time with their father because I can't teach them how to be a man. I have never kept him away from his children. And I know my kids love their father. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the problem I did not agree to that 2-week scheduling. My kids have never been away from me or with him for 2 weeks out of 9 years. My my children have autism, ma'am. They got IEP specials at their school. He don't know them like I do. He don't understand them like I do. I know my boys. And my kids, I can tell when something's wrong with them. My youngest afraid to talk to him. And when they try to talk to him, it's like he'll tell me, say, Mommy, when I try to tell daddy stuff, he gets scared. He's like, he don't believe me, but he'll come home and back in the years, he'll tell me. And then I question Kevin about it. And he was like, why he didn't tell me? Because he's afraid to talk to you. My children have autism. They have special needs.
Do you acknowledge that the children have not seen their dad? I've only seen him once since March the 22nd.
Of this year?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
That was May the 9th when Mr. Hambrick went to the school and picked them up.
Because he stays away. He don't try to come. He only doing this because he had another baby. And he told me that they need to know their new sister. And I told him that was in April. I said, Kevin, I don't have a problem with that, but you're going to have to get them on the weekend. This every 2 week stuff? No.
Well, when did you find out about the 2 week on, 2 week off schedule? When did you find out about that? That was in late March, wasn't it?
Ma'am, he came by and he showed it to me on his phone. I didn't get no paperwork in the mail. He showed it to me on his phone. And I said, who made that schedule? I said, I'm not agreeing to this schedule. No. And that's when I told him, I said, I'm going to get me a lawyer. I said, I'm not agreeing to this schedule.
All right, Judge, I have no further questions.
Let me ask Ms. Brewer just a couple questions, Ms. Glass. I want to get a good understanding. So is this divorce or what's happening still in DeKalb?
I submitted some exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
Exhibit 1 that we submitted is a certified copy of the final judgment and decree. These parties had been divorced since March 11th, 2022.
So is there anything pending in DeKalb? Or
the only thing pending is the warrant on Ms. Glass. And that's exhibit 2, respondent's exhibit 2 is a copy of the warrant application and proof that they had told her that she needed to appear via Zoom for a hearing on the warrant application on May the 16th, 2022 at 6 p.m. She didn't appear.
How come I didn't get that?
Hold on. I'm just asking her
He
So
did have,
the-
there was an active warrant. The sheriff's office, the magistrate court sent him an email on this, I believe it was the same day or the day after court, telling him he had to go to the sheriff's department. No, that he had to come down to the DeKalb County Magistrate Court and sign certain documents in order for them to go ahead and issue the warrant. So there is an active warrant out for her. So those are the two things in DeKalb. One is the closed divorce case, and she's known about it. She indicates that and my client's testimony is, and if you see Exhibit 1, Judge, if the very last sheet, the very last page is a copy of is a copy of his receipt when he actually went to the court and got certified copies and provided her with. He got few certified copies, and one of the reasons his testimony, one of the reasons he did that was because he didn't want her questioning whether it was legitimate or not. So she's had notice of this since March, on or about March the 29th.
So Ms. Brewer, tell me, so hold on. So Ms. Glass, you said you had a lawyer.
Yes.
What kind of case do you have a lawyer for? The case in DeKalb? Is it the case in DeKalb?
No, ma'am. I told them about what was going on. I told them what my ex-husband was doing, and it's with the family law program, and they accepted my case yesterday.
So you were supposed to have a volunteer lawyer appointed to this.
Right. And she emailed me yesterday, and she couldn't make it because she had another case. She was at 9:30 and she wasn't going to be able to make it.
The lawyer, if I could ask that.
Yeah. Do you remember her name?
No.
No, not
It
you.
was Andrea.
Help me out, Miss Sandifer. Always.
Which is this on a divorce or on the TPO case? Is she talking about Audrey?
Yes, it's
Or
about the
Andrea
divorce.
Apps? Okay, that's not this case.
It's not the
not those two programs don't necessarily communicate.
Okay. Did she have one for this?
No, I don't believe one was ever appointed. And my guess would be that there wasn't the resource there to appoint it for her.
How many volunteer cases have you taken?
Me?
No, not you. I'm talking to Miss Dominay. She's all happily married, newlywed. How many volunteer cases have you taken for AVLF this year? Counsel?
I'm not taking any, Your Honor, but I'm here. So whatever the court would direct me to do.
You should always take at least one or two. If Lily Crow was on here, I'd be recruiting lawyers left and right. I've even gotten Miss Brewer to take something volunteer every now and then.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm happy to help.
You know, here's my position, Miss Brewer, and I'm not, sucking you in for long term, but seems like one thing is about these kids, okay? Let's assume that maybe what she's saying is true. Let's take it out, right? They have a violent history, Miss Brewer. One thing we want to do, right, is get these young boys to be able to have time with their dad. Right, Miss Brewer?
Yes, Judge. And the best time to have litigated that issue would have been while the divorce was pending, which she didn't come forward. She was served in October, November, December, January, February, March. She has 6 months. 6 months.
Would you?
This is just a ruse.
Would you mind letting counsel just speak to her for a second and see what you two can kind of come up with? Because what if? And I agree. If there was a divorce and somebody didn't show up, an order got issued. Maybe she didn't know, and things like that. And let's see what's going to be best for these kids. Two young men, they need a good role model consistently. Mr. Hambrick, I'm not saying you've seen them. I'm not saying you haven't seen them, but the kids, especially if they're on the spectrum, then they need consistency and schedule. What do you think? Oh man, you talk to her for a few minutes, and then see if you could talk to Miss Brewer for a second and see what kind of something that could be worked out.
She's going to need to comply by the order until it's changed. I think we just need to figure out where they're going to do the exchange.
I have
hold on, Miss Dunfrey. You think you'd do that for me? We'd give you a big old gold star.
Yes, Your Honor. I love gold stars.
Gold star. And you tell Lily Crow, if you're watching, this is the volunteer of the year. Except for Miss Brewer. Let me
Just make sure Miss Brewer doesn't bite. I don't think she bites, but
Well,
no.
She's only bit me once, and it didn't quite break the skin, so it's okay. She's only, it's just one time, didn't break, and that's when we were in person. So if you go back to breakout room 1, Miss Glass, I'm gonna put you in breakout room 1, okay? So she could get kind of a little real something brief. She's listened, all right, and just talk to her for just a second. Miss Brewer, let me put you in a breakout room with your client.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
all right.
And Ms. Glass, we're gonna keep this very streamlined. You know, we discussed in that breakout session, the judge is she is very familiar with how to kind of cut through the mustard. Okay, so can you please describe for the court the ways Mr. Hambrick has been violent towards you?
He has punched me in my face. He has whooped me with a belt and spit in my face. He has pulled a gun out on me before. I cannot deal with that trauma. I cannot deal with him. I'm afraid for my life.
Yes, ma'am.
I am afraid.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm afraid. I do not trust that man. I do not trust him.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know what he do when he get angry. He's another person.
Okay, so we have those different incidents. So you stated that he's punched you and he's pulled a weapon. And I don't mean to minimize it, but I just want to make sure that you understand the court has heard those allegations. Have you made any police reports or called the police in association with any of the times that he has been violent towards you?
It was back in 2014, them years when it happened. But I know, a woman never forget an abusive man. I know what he would do. I know what he'll do to me.
Yes, ma'am. So you said that you have called the police previously to document his violent behaviors.
Yes.
Okay. Has he been violent towards the children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So at this point, are you asking for the court to issue the TPO against the children? Or are you willing to withdraw that and just want to move forward with a TPO petition between you and Mr. Hambrick?
I want it to be for both because I'm looking out for the well-being of my kids because of their disabilities.
Okay. What kind of...
He checked them out of school and he has never done it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm your advocate, so I'm going to ask you a few questions. If you answer them, I'm going to argue your position for the court at the appropriate.
Okay.
So the next question I have for you is, he's been violent previously. The court's going to need to assess, will he be violent in the future? Have you had any recent acts of violence from Mr. Hambrick, or have you had any threats of violence from Mr. Hambrick?
On May 15th, when he came to my house.
And is that the incident you were describing earlier where he was beating on your door?
Well, he came by my house on May 13th and he was banging on my door. And I called the police then and got a report. And then he came back May 15th. Well, actually, I was on my way out the house and he was in the stairways. And I was telling him that I got a lawyer. And he was like, well, until then, we're going to do this. And I said, no, Kelvin. And I tried to go back into my apartment and he pushed my door and we was going back and forth.
Yes, ma'am. So you did call the police in May when he had those 3 days where he came to your place uninvited?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have there been any other incidents of violence or threats of harm from Mr. Hambrick?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you are asking the judge to extend this TPO for 12 months for you and your children?
Yes, please.
Okay, no further questions.
Ms. Brewer?
Yes, Judge. Now you said you were upset that Mr. Hambrick had kept the children out of taking them from school.
Huh?
You said that he had picked them up from school and you were upset about that.
He never done that before. He had my oldest son to call him from his cell phone. I thought my children was in school. I didn't even know he checked them out of school. He has never done that since my oldest been in pre-K and he's 11 now.
But he explained
and
that
I didn't even know his address. And I said, Kevin, give me your address. And he texted me his address. And that's when I went to his house and he left on purpose. And he had me sitting out there for 4 hours in my car.
So, but you're upset that he pick them up from, check them out of school. Why would you be upset about that?
He never done that before. That's why I'm a mother. Man, that's out of the norm. That's out of his character. He has never done that before. Never, ever, never. Since my oldest been in pre-K, he has never checked my children out of school. And what mother's not going to be concerned about her kids?
When he came to your apartment on the 15th, the reason he was coming was to pick up the children, correct?
And I told him that I got a lawyer. I said, I've been to the courthouse and I'm getting the lawyer. And I was trying to go back into my my door. He pushed my door and he pushed me and we was going back and forth and I screamed for help. And my neighbor downstairs came upstairs and was talking to him. And when I got to my car,
your neighbor didn't observe anything, though. He didn't observe anything, did he?
What you mean observe?
He heard you screaming.
That's why he heard me screaming. That's why he came out the house.
Right. He heard you screaming.
I was screaming. I said, help me, somebody help me, please. That's what I was saying, ma'am. Because I didn't want him to get in here so he can hurt me. What? Oh my God.
Won't you admit that he came to get the children?
I didn't know. I did not even know he was out there, ma'am. I was finna take my trash out. Actually, he scared me when I opened the door. I was like, woo! I didn't even know he was out there.
No, nothing further, Judge.
Any follow up?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Duvernay?
I don't believe Ms. Glass has any other witnesses with her, so no, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Brewer?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to dismiss based on the fact that Ms. Glass has not made a case to show that domestic violence has occurred in the past or that will occur in the future. Your Honor, she's not credible. She's not credible. She says two different things. First, she says she didn't know that there was a divorce pending and she'd never gotten served with any papers. And then when I asked her, I said, isn't it true that Mr. Hambrick was at your house in your apartment with you the day you got served with the divorce papers? And she said, oh, yes, he was there. He was there.
What I was saying, I get a warrant. I don't know nothing about a warrant.
Hold on, Ms. Glass.
I'm here for you now. You don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Okay?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I've got you.
Then subsequent, I emailed Ms. Free and I also emailed Ms. Duvernay proof of that she had been she had been notified of the final hearing in the divorce case by the court. So what Ms. Glass is saying is she didn't remember getting served, but then she remembered she did get served, but she didn't do anything about it for 6 months as the case was pending. And she's blaming it on the fact that her mother died. The evidence is going to show that her mother died back in 2015. So I don't know what that has to do with what's happening in 2022. But at any rate, she claims she didn't get notice of the divorce, which we have proof. She got notice. She was notified. The court sent her the notice. Number two, she says she doesn't know anything about this outstanding warrant. There is an outstanding warrant, and that's our Exhibit 2.
Your Honor, to my knowledge, no exhibits have been tendered. She shared things with me to review, but that's not evidence that can be argued.
Oh, all right. Well, I can use them during my client's. I'll use those during my client's case, I suppose. I'll just leave that out for now. But we're just saying to the court that Ms. Glass is not credible. This is someone who had a divorce pending for 6 months. If this man is a monster, like you say he is, why didn't she go into court and say, he doesn't need to have custody. He needs to have restricted visitation. This is what I want. This is what I need. She never did that. All of a sudden, now that he's trying to enforce his order, she just doesn't want him to see or have anything to do with these children. That is the problem. And I think it makes things rougher for people who really are victims of domestic violence when people come in and fabricate stories. I asked her if she had ever, other than this alleged incident on May the 15th, had she ever filed a police report before? She said no. Then Ms. Duvernay just asked her, she said, oh yeah, back in 2014. Well, which is it? Make up your mind. You say one thing and then you say something else. So our position is, Judge, that she's not credible. If she wants to change the order, we believe she just needs to file a modification and get the order changed. But she's basically told you, even if you grant the TPO and give him visitation or give him parenting time, she's not going to follow the order. She's already told you that. So she's thumbing her nose up at Judge Harvey in DeKalb, and she's going to be thumbing her nose up at you. Please dismiss the TPO and let my client try to resume some kind of relationship with the children, because he has not seen them in months.
Go ahead, Mr. Renee.
Your Honor, we argue that it's not right for a dismissal. We've heard testimony from Ms. Glass that there was violent behavior in 2014 and that there was violent behavior throughout as recent as May. And it wasn't one incident. We heard that there were a stretch of 3 days that Mr. Hambrick was violent. Now, if he was coming to pick up the children, whatever the reason that he actually came to the location, we heard testimony that was uncontroverted that he was violent towards her, that he tried to press into her home, that he was trying to be violent, that he was pushing her, that he was trying to force entry into her dwelling place. Your Honor, that's not appropriate. The appropriate thing to do would have been what he did, which was try to get a warrant, for her arrest, or maybe try to get sheriff involvement, maybe file a contempt action. But he's not able to become violent and take violence into his own hands. And so while credibility is certainly relevant for the court to take into consideration, to argue that whatever Ms. Brewer perceives as incredible testimony should be enough to throw out this entire TPO, we would argue is just not right and will be a miscarriage of justice. Ms. Glass has been very heated. She's been very vocal, but clearly, Your Honor, you've seen people who have been victimized who go years without reporting. The idea that her not calling the police should be a stain against her credibility is unreasonable. The idea that she would not show up to a hearing should knock her credibility. We've seen people all the time. They don't get noticed. And whatever Ms. Brewer sent to me is not evidence in front of the court yet. There have been no exhibits to go against Ms. Glass. And so we'd argue that the motion to dismiss should be denied and that we continue on with the hearing, or Mr. Hambrick could consent to leave Ms. Glass alone and we can move on and have a good lunch.
Yeah, I'm going to deny the motion to dismiss. Go ahead, Ms. Brewer, you'll call your client.
And it should have really been a motion for directed verdict rather than a motion to dismiss, but pretty much amounts to the same. Yes, we'll call Kelvin Hambrick.
Mr. Hambrick, y'all swear from testimony you're about to give is truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes. Right, Maya?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Brewer.
State your name, please.
Kelvin Hambrick.
And you're formerly married to Tiffany Glass, is that correct?
Yes.
You all have 2 children.
Yes.
Kelvin and what's the younger child's name?
Kadarius.
Kadarius, right. Tell the court, after you and Ms. Glass separated, did she permit you to have visitation with the children?
When we first separated, she was letting me get them. I stayed with my uncle. They'll come over every other weekend, or when she needed me to get them, when she needed to do something. When I got my own house, which was in 2017, she was letting them come over then until I let my son ride the dirt bike that I bought, and he burnt his leg on. And after that, it was more so, you got to come to my house. You got to come to my house. You got to come to my house. And over the years, she said, I ain't been there, but I have been in her house. She done been in my house. Until I moved in this new house. She been in my house. I've been in her house. I done went over her house numerous times to watch the boys while she was at work. To when COVID hit, when they was doing virtual learning and stuff, I'd have been in her house. If I was such a violent person, why would you allow me in your house? Like, I don't get it. But yes, she stopped. I say around 2019 was when she stopped letting me see them outside of her house. Like, so you'd have to go to her house. Yes. Sorry, you'd have to go to her house in order to see them. Is your testimony? Yes. Yes. Was during that time, the 2019, was she telling you that you all were divorced, or was she saying, yes, were you all talking about it? I think she might have mentioned us being divorced around 2020. All right. And 2021 was when I looked into it.
When you looked into it for 2021, what did you determine?
That we wasn't divorced. So I went ahead and filed.
All right. And you had her served as part of the divorce, the process server.
Yes.
Tell the court, you were there at any time when a process with the children, when a process server attempted to serve Ms. Glass?
Yes.
Tell the court about that.
Okay, I went over to see the boys. She was aware of it. She okay for me to come over there. So I was over there seeing the boys. She was gone. She was not at the house. So I'm sitting over there with the boys watching the movie. And the process server knocks on the door, and I told him she wasn't there. Then I reached out to my lawyer and let her know. I was like, well, your process server just knocked on the door, but she's not here. I'm over here. And I said probably about 10, 15 minutes later, she came in the house heated, going off on me. So I was like, I take it you got the paperwork. She was like, yeah, why you didn't have to do it like that? You could have just brought it to me. And I was like, no, I couldn't have just brought it to you. So basically, she just argued me down and cussed me out that whole time I was over there. I mean, my son couldn't finish the movie because all she did was argue the whole time I was over there and put me out like she always do. Every time I'm over there, that's the reason I filed a divorce, because I got tired of going over there and getting put out. I wanted them away from her house so I could have time with them.
Judge, am I able to share the screen?
Sure.
All right. Before I get to that, Mr. Hambrick, ultimately, did your wife participate in the divorce proceedings at all?
Not at all.
Did you have conversations with her about what was going on with her and why she wasn't getting involved?
She don't. After that, I don't think we talked much. I probably went over there a few times, but I tried to stay away because of the fact that like she said I'm violent, but if you listen to the audio, I said she is that, man. I'm not going to speak on it unless y'all bring it up. But yeah, I can't deal with that mouth she has. So I stayed away a lot during the time when the divorce was pending. I'll go over every now and then. And once the divorce was final,
Mr. Hambrick, you way out here. You're up in somewhere up around South Carolina. Did you hear what Miss Brewer asked you? Get back downtown on the connector and answer her question for me, please.
I don't even remember what the question
was.
Yep.
He done listen to her question.
Was my client cooperative with the divorce?
Okay. No. Why did she say why she didn't participate? Wasn't participating?
No, she just replied that she wasn't going to participate. She said F me and F the judge and everybody else involved with the case. She ain't showing up.
Wait, stop. She also asked you how often after she was served the two of you talked about it.
We didn't really talk much after that.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Brewer. That's what I was looking for. The answer to that question. Go ahead.
All right. After the decree was entered in late March 2022, correct?
Yes.
And after that, what discussions did you have with her about the custodial arrangement for the children?
I went to her house to show her a copy of the paperwork. And she was like, she wanted the actual official copies. So what I did, that was I think that was the weekend. That was a Friday. So what I did, because it was my time to have them, that's the reason I went over there to show her. It was my time to have them. I showed her the paperwork saying that I was supposed to have them. I didn't put up a fight. She said no. I said okay. She said I want the official documents. So I went down to the courthouse. I bought 2 official copies, one for me, one for her. She didn't even allow me to give it to her, so I sent it to her through text. I scanned it and sent it to her through text. She called me and said that she was not aware of none of this and she is not complying with none of that.
Mr. Hambrick, I'm going to show you what's been marked as respondents 1
of the divorce decree. I think we're trying to determine whether or not Mr. Hambrick is in violence towards Ms. Glass and the minor children, Kelvin and Kendarius, and whether or not he will be violent moving forward. I don't know the relevance of this document.
I mean, I kind of got that they got a divorce, that there was a divorce decree, and just tell you what I heard so far. They didn't talk much about that. He shows up with the divorce decree, said, "I'm here for the boys." She says, "What?" Tells him to go away. So he gets another one, sends her another copy. I got it. There's a divorce. Somebody said 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Wasn't Judge Hunter. So it both. So then came over there. So what I'm really concerned about these allegations of violence, Ms. Brewer, I'll take judicial notice. They got that order.
I just wanted to give you, we're talking about what her motive is for making these accusations. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. And
I'll tell you this right now, Miss Brewer, I ain't prejudging this, but she's credible to me. Or she can put some actresses out of work today. Today, she could put some actresses out of work. Because that's some good acting. I can tell you that. So she's credible to me. My thing, and she said, and I don't know how to bridge it between allowing him, like I said, time with the boys, and her, and how to make that happen. And like I said, if there's a couple of kids on the spectrum, he could get these two little boys for 2 weeks and not know what, if they're truly on the spectrum, and not know what he's gotten himself into when he gets two boys on the spectrum. First of all, two boys. We know they're not as good as two little girls, but they're two boys. So then add the spectrum, they could be bouncing off the walls. There's always three sides, and I got to be the third side in the middle. So I'm just letting you know that she's credible as far as her fear, and it ain't because she's yelling or anything else. I don't have a problem with her credibility. I get she didn't participate for whatever reason. Didn't have money, didn't have a lawyer, whatever. So that's what I'm talking about, filling in the gap.
well, I got it. But what's your ruling on the admissibility?
I don't need to hear about. I mean, I see that she didn't show up, and he could have asked for the moon and got it in a divorce. She wasn't there.
But the question is, what has she done about it since? Nothing. If she built, other than to deny him time.
Well, and that's why, all the family lawyers are employed. I'm just saying. I got that. So my concern right now, like I said, is the violence. What are we going to do about that? I'm concerned about her and her safety. I haven't heard a whole bunch that she's done. She said he hadn't really been violent with the boys. But then if you talk about this, and it's just about her, how are they going to exchange these children safely? And
at the police station, probably at the police station.
I mean, which one, where, and outside? I don't, outside, inside, what? And then as long as your client understands that if these boys are on the spectrum, if he knows anything about autism, sir,
testified to that, Judge.
Okay, I'm telling you. If he
don't know that he know. I'll ask him. That'll be one of the questions I'll ask him. I don't know that he even knows that, or whether it's even true, or if they've been diagnosed
right
by a psychiatrist, or who diagnosed them. I don't know.
Sure. So, and if he's on an IEP, he should look at all that, because he is about to, depending on the, where on the spectrum these children are, he is going to have his hands full. I'm talking full, and you don't know full. They're not just little boys that you could, say, all right, let's go, be rebel roused and stuff like that. They have certain things that need to happen. So I don't know that you understand that, Mr. Hambrick. I don't really know that anybody who say, Mr. Hambrick, don't you ever interrupt me. Throw your head back. I hate this judge. Tell me, don't you ever interrupt me. I don't get to talk when I'm at my house. Miss Brewer knows me long enough. No, I'm not the boss at my house. Here, I talk and you listen. I'm concerned about these children. I want you to be in their lives, Mr. Hambrick. I do. Curl your lips, shrivel your nose. Miss Brewer, how about you and Miss Everybody? Go on in that breakout room, work something out. I'm giving her the TPO. I can tell you that, Miss Brewer. And
without hearing from him, Judge?
Well, let me tell you, I can hear from him, but her, she's scared. Something has happened. He's going to say no. You can tell me about these children, but I can tell right now. Miss Brewer, go on, appeal it. They can say I'm wrong. It won't be the first time they've said I'm wrong, but they don't sit here and hear cases and watch him. Because one thing that judges do is, you can do that. I'm watching you. I'm watching every move you make, every snarl of your lip. every roll of your eyes, whatever, Judge, you big old dummy. I'm watching all that. I may sound like cornbread and buttermilk, but I promise you I am so much smarter. January 1st, 2018, I've heard, put your hand down. I have heard over 9,000 of these. I can sift through this stuff quicker than anybody can say my name. And it doesn't start with a B. So I can tell I'm concerned for this woman's safety. If he's going to say he didn't do it, she is very credible. Now, it's these children is what I want to hear about, and how these children are going to be safely exchanged between these two. Now, him not admitting if he hasn't been in these children's life, Ms. Brewer, on a daily basis, and you know that, and that he may be biting off a lot more than he could chew, because, ma'am, there is an order. No matter what you say, there's an order. A judge in DeKalb County signed that order. That order has to be followed. Now, if he wants to step up and say, whoo, they may be some special needs. I may not know what I'm doing. Let me get this and look at it. That's fantastic. You got to follow that order. Now, I'm not going to, DeKalb County can handle you not following that order. It's Judge Harvey, right? Judge Harvey. Harvey can take that up. You take that up with Judge Harvey. But right now, what I'm concerned about, Ms. Brewer, maybe you want to talk to your uninterested client about how uninterested he seems to be, rolling all around and not really focusing on what I'm saying. Y'all work out something about these boys. These boys are the most important to me, and that they're safe, and the exchange of these children are safe, and how it should happen. And Ms. Brewer, if it hasn't been a couple of months, you know, if you're arguing for the other side, you're going to say, hey, let's do it for a weekend. Let's say he's doing, maybe like a longer week. Summer's here, so, weekend is a holiday weekend, then a week, and step, over just a few visits, and then give it to him, because it's been a few months and whatever before that. But, and she has admitted, he's not been mean to these children. I hope he's going to step up and be a good dad. But in the meantime, Google what autism is and get their IEP and see where they're at from their testing, and see what you're going to need to do for them. Because please don't stick these little boys in front of video games. That's not helping their growth. If y'all want to go back in the breakout rooms and chat while I call this calendar, and Mr. Hambrick, look here, you got an outstanding lawyer, but she can't help your reactions. She can't tell you how to act when you testify. Oh, I don't want to hear it, Mr. Hambrick. I want you to go in there and talk to Ms. Brewer and figure out what needs to be done about these children. And Ms. Brewer, we can start it at 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and come back and see how against her, and see how they're doing. And if she's not stepping up the visits like she should or something, because you're reasonable, Ms. Brewer, or we can extend the ex parte, because I don't want to hurt him if he's got a good job. But I want to protect her and make sure some of these boys get back to what they're supposed to be doing.
Judge, can I just say a couple things?
Absolutely, Ms. Brewer.
One of the things that the parties had talked about after Ms. Glass found out that it was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, he said, well, look, let's try it. If it's not working out, because she was like, oh, let's just go to every weekend. You can have him every weekend. And she was saying that he could have him every weekend. And he would have considered it. But then all of this happened, and boom.
So y'all go in there with your clients and talk to it and see about if you know where they live, Ms. Brewer or Mr. Irvay, at a safe place for them to meet to exchange the children.
Yes, sure. I can speak with her about that, as well as the graduation.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to make it a long time, because if Ms. Brewer is, and I believe Ms. Brewer, I've known Ms. Brewer a long time, and if she says it, I'll take it to the bank. So if that's what they'd agreed to us first, so that he can get a good taste and see what it's like, great. And Miss, if she has a copy of the IEP, could you give it to him so he can kind of see what the tests are and stuff? If he has decided after it not, he's stepping up. Let him step up. Let him do exactly what he needs to do for these boys. Because you're right, Miss Glass. You said it. It came out of your mouth. They need a good male role model. He might not like me, but he probably loves them boys. Y'all going in your breakout room, Ms. Brooke.
And Judge, the ultimate issue is when you do order his parenting time, she's already said she's not gonna abide by it. She's already said that.
Miss Brewer, Miss Brewer, I got a question for you. You ain't even got you're an officer of the court. When somebody doesn't abide by what I say, where they go?
Rice Street.
Amen. Sister, you check into Rice Street if you're a woman and they shoot you down to Union City. Because when I say
policy not to have my clients go to jail, Your Honor, so I will advise her that an order of a court is an order of the court, and I will make sure that she understands that. But Your Honor, yes, I'm happy to speak with her in the breakout room to kind of make sure she fully understands what's going on right now. Up to this point, she hasn't had counsel, but now she's got me.
No, I got you that, and she's doing. Thank you, Gold Star, Miss Sandifer. You tell Mr. Crow, look here, Gold Star, and Miss Brewer always gets a Gold Star. She a regular Gold Star anytime, anyway. Y'all go back into those breakout rooms which y'all are in. Madam Court Reporter, if you want to stand down for a second.
Judge, I think we've come to an agreement, except one thing. We've agreed that for the month of July, the children are going to come to Mr. Hamburg every weekend from after camp or school on Friday, return to camp or school on Monday. We're going to do that for a month. Then after that, and then if school or camp are not in session, they'll exchange at the Old National
Highway Precinct
Police Station when Ms. Glass is returning the children to my client. When my client is picking up the children, he'll do it at the Grant Park Police Station.
That zone. That sound like what everybody agreed to?
Well, one issue, Your Honor, I think Ms. Brewer spoke. She said the month of July. We actually are going to do the month of June until July, Ms. Brewer.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because June is only half over, right? All right, yeah.
So we're going to basically go from now until the middle of July.
Right.
That's that transition. Miss Glass now understands that the order in place is something that she's got to kind of contend with in another jurisdiction. But she does they all agree that the boys should have a transitional period. So for the next several weekends, beginning today, actually, Your Honor, it's Father's Day weekend, they can go with their dad. Ms. Brewer, were you finished?
No, because I was going to tell the judge about the one thing that we couldn't agree on. My client, I can't agree. I can't advise him to agree to an order that finds that he's been guilty of, has committed acts of family violence. I just can't. So if we can't agree on this piece, we're probably just going to have to conclude the day by having the full hearing. But what we're asking is that the ex parte order be extended for 90 days, just to see how things go. So that would be our request.
Your Honor, I did propose that to my client, Ms. Glass. She's not agreeable. Her fear is palpable and real. The family violence is real. And the 12-month order, we believe once the hearing is concluded, should be put in place. So,
and I agree. And Mr. Hambrick, you got a job. Looks like you're a truck driver for a living.
Yep. Yes.
That's it. We need you more now than we ever have. And the way I look at it is, Miss Tiffany, you're going to have your protection no matter what. We're going to extend the ex parte because I don't want you to lose your job, Mr. Hambrick. Because I don't know if you're independently employed or you work for a company, but the TPO is still in place. Okay, it is still in. So you still have the protection, Miss Tiffany. You still have it, and we'll do a compliance date of like 90 days. So what's this? Sometime October, I guess, first part of October, right. Something like that.
Yes.
Miss Free.
Now, we've also agreed, Judge, of course, they're going to have to be able to communicate with one another when it has to do with the children. So
I know you told me Our Family Wizard's a fee, but you said there was one that was free.
AppClose. 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 And Miss Duvernay is familiar with it. We were just talking about the fact that it was no cost. So we could probably try that.
Yes, Miss Glass agrees to communicate using that app or text communication, and just as long as it's clear that it is. Now, one thing that she was concerned about, since we're just kind of airing everything out, Your Honor, Miss Glass has told me that Mr. Hambrick does own an AR-15 that he has in his trunk, as well as a pistol. And obviously, if we had been successful with securing that TPO, he would have to surrender those firearms. And so that is a concern of Ms. Glass. So I told her I would bring it up to the court. Now that you're extending the ex parte, I'm not sure if the ex parte would require him to surrender his weapons. I'm not very familiar with you all ex parte orders. So that's the only thing that I did want to mention, that she is concerned about his ownership of several weapons. And in light of the allegations that the court heard that he has pulled a weapon on her, I think it is important that we make note of that.
So, Mr. Hambrick, I would tell you this, and Ms. Brewer's going to tell you this. I was a former cop, 15 years. Got plenty of weapons myself. And I'll tell you this, if you're a long over-the-road truck driver, you probably need something. Because where you're, I don't know if you have to sleep in a truck stop or someplace like that. So you probably need something because, kids out there have lost their mind, some of them. And I want you to keep safe. My part of the order is going to be that none of that be with you if you have to meet Miss Tiffany. None of it, sir. So if it's in the trunk of your car, you should leave it in the trunk of your car because somebody will steal your car and that thing's going to be gone. I don't care where you live. That's happening all over the place. So don't have those with you anytime especially if you're around the kids or if you go there. That's going to be part of it. I'm not going to make you turn it in and all that stuff, but Mrs. Brewer's going to tell you the same thing. Don't do that. You're just asking for trouble. And then I'm not even going to put it out there that you're around a police station, man of color, gun, go down that rabbit hole. And that's not a good one, potentially. And I wouldn't want to see anything happen to you. Believe it or not, the world's a much better place with both of y'all in it, especially for these children. So I would say use app close and stay away from texting as much as you can. Because I could text you right now, Mr. Hambrick, and say, nice to meet you. You could read it like, nice to meet you. Or, nice to meet you. So there could be too much read into that. And just for the record, I said one with a little attitude, one with not a little attitude. Mm-hmm. So okay. That's why on app close, we do it like this. Like, Miss Brewer, I'm dropping the children off here. She may sit back and say, Judge, I'm 10 minutes late. And it's just very factual. That's it. Just very factual. Okay? Because one thing y'all do, put these children above everything else. Because it's definitely a better world with these children in it. We don't always agree, but I have the utmost respect for Miss Brewer and Mr. DeVay. They both good lawyers, and when they would do it with passion.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I have to turn myself in,
so why don't you talk to her about that? Because I don't know about.
Yeah, I explained to her, Miss Glass. Remember, that is not related to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what all that's about or whatever, but maybe, they could talk. I don't know. I don't want to see anybody go to jail over some children.
I know. And I've explained that to her. And I know that some counties have standing bond orders and things like that. So she and I can discuss it again, Your Honor.
Sounds like a plan. All came together. Thank you. Mr. Hambrick, sorry to lose my cool with you. But all these I dealt with, Miss Brewer knows. I love to hear when people start getting hard-headed. People don't listen. They don't think about the real thing. It's these children. We got to raise some wonderful children. All right. Thank y'all both.
Oh, my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What is going on today? This is a joke. This is a joke. Today is an absolute joke. We need an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself sometimes.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Reed, we're going to start bringing people in person. People are going to learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
I have no patience for that. And trust me, out of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.